I'm going to give Tipper a soak today. He's trying to shed, and he's been working out in his soak tray in his enclosure for about 4 days. So I'm going to help the process along a little bit. A lot of people that are new in the hobby don't know, so just figured I'd make a nice little video and hopefully help somebody along that gets stuck with a bad shed. Me, I do all mine when I see them at this stage. I do the soak to help them along so they don't have to use up so much energy to get their skin off. I noticed almost all snakes, the first thing you'll notice when they're getting ready to shed is their stomach color will turn. Now my ball pythons, both of them are adults, and their stomachs turn pink, like a pinkish tint. If he'll let me have my arm, which he's not, to show you, see like the pink tone on the bottom. Within a week he would be shedding on his own, but you can see like a really bright pink tone right down the center of the stomach when they're ready to shed. Actually, I've noticed when you give them a soak, the first part of their skin to let loose is the belly also. And he's got death grip on my arm. I'm not gonna hurt you, you know I'm not. Mama won't drop you. So I have to redo the water sometimes like 2 or 3 times because he just loves being in it. Once you first put them in, they'll start banging around a little bit and acting up, but after they realize it feels good to their skin, and they just settle right in usually. I don't use a bathtub because a bathtub leaves too wide of an opening, and the moisture and humidity is not really being concentrated onto the snake's skin or being absorbed by it because it's all escaping from the opening in the bathtub. So I've been talking to a few people, and I've seen people put big constrictors in the bathtub. That's very dangerous because for some reason at that point in time, the snake stresses out. It makes you an open target if they come up out of the bathtub. I've been on the receiving end of that when my big female came out and smacked a few of us on the floor one day trying to put her in the bathtub. But she was used to being a big plastic tote, so it's really not advisable to put big constrictors in the bathtub for a soak. Use 1 part Clorox to 10 parts water. This is an 18-gallon, and this is the top I made for it. I've used it for 6 years now. I just cut a hole. I used my wood burning tool and melted a circle after I measured it, melted the center out, then took a piece of green tinted plastic. It was not plastic, it was a dish, and I put in there and touched the edges with my hot glue gun, and then I put tape over it. The Argentine boas have a great big one that's like 160 quart, I believe it is, if I remember correctly, a clear one. It's actually a storage tote, but this is one the ball pythons go in. Yep, $4 at the dollar store. So there's no reason why people can't go down the dollar store and get a storage tote to give their snakes a soak instead of putting them in the bathtub, which is not really helpful at all. But I've been doing it for 49 years. This is the best route to go with any snake if you want to soak them. This works out really well with the panel that I cut and put in the top because as the steam builds up inside the tote, you can see it. And it does have one drill spot on the right handle, so there's some air going in and out because these seal up pretty tight. But you don't want ventilation all the way around or you're losing the humidity, and the purpose of doing this is to get the humidity absorbed into the snake's skin. This is Tipper. He's sitting in here waiting to go in the soak. But after I pour the boiling water in, I get about 4 to 6 inches, like I said. Then I'll add cold water to it, and I stir it around. I can tell by my hand what temp I want it. I usually stay between 80 and 85 degrees percent here, and I always keep a towel out. I bring a fresh, clean towel out because I lay it down on the bed, so when he comes out of the soak, I usually pick him up with it out of the tote and wrap him up with it and put him on my lap till he adjusts to the difference in being out. Yeah, this is all been disinfected and cleaned. I'm just waiting for the water to boil. While the water is boiling, I go over and I take out all this water, refresh his water because he's been that soaking. and replace the papers in the bottom of his enclosure. And the main reason that I don't go to 90 degrees is because a lot of times my snakes will be on the cool end of their enclosure. And myself, I personally I don't like taking them from a colder temp straight into a really warm temp. So that's why I usually use it around 80, 85 degrees. I usually use 2 pans full of hot water. You can see the steam is all built up on the inside of the clear panel. Well, it's not clear, it's light green, but you can see the steam building up in it. I usually take 2 pans full of water and dump in it, so it gives me like 4 inches of hot water, and then I dump 1 more pan of cold water in, which brings the temp back down to around 80, give 80 to 82, sometimes 85, but I can tell by my hand what temp is safe for him. You can use hot tap water. Myself, I just prefer to boil my water to be sure it's pure. And you just add cold water until you get it the temperature you want it. Like I said, I do it by hand. I've been doing it for so long, I don't need a thermostat for it. Alright, I've got my water all set up. I've got about 4 inches in here. Total, I got 2 pans of hot water, and then I put 1 pan of cold water in. So it's nice and comfortable temperature, but it's on the warm side. So now I'll put Tipper in. He looks little. I got my camera on extended view. But yeah, he's nice and dark, and his eyes are blue. You want to go take your bath? Huh? Want to go take a joke? I put him in very gently. Let him adjust slowly. Okay, Tipper's in the soak now. You can see the steam that's built up on this panel. This is what's beneficial if you're trying to help with a stubborn shed, or even for rehydrating your snakes. Like mine go outdoors a lot in the summer. I don't take them out when it's exceptionally hot, but they do get somewhat dried out. Their skin gets tougher. So that's why mine all go in a soak outdoors before I bring them back in to help rehydrate anything they've lost from the sun. It only takes like 2 seconds for them to adapt to the change. Like I said, I keep my water around 80, so it's not like shocking to them to go from one temperature change to another. But I've got the top off, and he's got all of his body under the water except for his head, and eventually he'll swim under the water and get his head and nose wet and everything. So he's a champ. We've done this like 4 million times. I do it just, like I said, to help loosen the shed so they don't have to work so hard at it. You liking your soak, huh? There you go. Put your head down in. He looks small in this video because I'm like standing up and I'm like 5'9", so I'm not very close to him. He's a good boy. Here, get your head wet. There you go. There, boy. Don't they calm right down after they adapt to the difference in the temperature? There you go. Yeah, there. Stay in the water. I'll put the top back on so I don't lose my humidity. I usually keep them in here for about 45 minutes to an hour, depending. You can tell by the stomach if the shed's starting to let loose. He's like, I'd say 2 or 3 days away from his shed, so even if he doesn't shed today from the soak, it will help speed up the process so he doesn't have to work so hard to get it off. You can see all the humidity that's built up on the inside where he's at. And while he's soaking, I'm boiling another small pan of hot water. I keep it on the side in case his temps go down and this doesn't show that he's still building humidity in it. But then I just push him to one end and add some more hot water in the opposite corner so it warms it back up so we get that humidity level back up in the soaker. He's content in there. Usually 45 minutes I take him out. But sometimes I try to take him out and he wants to go back in. So I've had him in there for up to 2 hours sometimes because he wanted to be in there. And so I leave it up to them pretty much. Yeah, I'm boiling some more water in case Tipper wants to stay in longer. But I've got a nice buildup of steam in here. It's not hot. It's only about 80 degrees. But if it's sealed up good, this will build up. And this is all being soaked into his skin. Put your head down. There you go. It's cooling off, so I'm going to have to add some more warm water to it. I got some boiling, so I'll bring the temp back up and build that back up for it. Add a little bit of warm water to this end away from the snake. It's steaming, but it's going in the corner, and it doesn't look like it's that far away from him, but it really is. And just stir it up with my hand. Put that steam back up. There you go. It's warmer now. Yeah. And he's really calm through it. It's not a big deal. You don't want to add hot water in with him in there unless you got him all the way to one end though. But he's enjoying his bath. There you go. We did alright too. Yeah. Pay very close attention to where you pour in the water because you definitely don't want to risk him coming back up under it because it's hot water. Well, I got the lid off. This is inside the lid. You can see how much moisture and steam's built up on here. So it's really a great way to rehydrate a snake and its skin, actually. Come out. How was that? Was that nice? Did you enjoy your soak? Huh? So nice. Got a lot of moisture that's soaked into his skin. That'll help soften it up for a shed. Wanna come see me? There you go, Kip. Hold on. Okay. I'm gonna wrap him up, put him on my lap for a while. And if his skin's starting to let go, I'll usually help him shut it off. If not, I put him back in his house, and usually about an hour or two later, he'll rub it off himself. There you are. Did you enjoy your bath? Huh? Did you enjoy your bath? Look how shiny he is. So he's like rehydrated where his skin was dry, where he's trying to shed. Yeah. Feel better now? Was it nice? He didn't really want to come out, but now he's at least rehydrated, so it'll help get that skin loose. He's comfortable. I'm fine. He's got some pretty blue eyes. But I'll hold him for a little while. And after he starts to dry out a little bit, you can tell if it's going to let go. I always check the stomach first because that's usually the first place he'll start feeling if it's ready to come off. And if it's ready to come off, I usually help him get it off. If not, I just put him back in his house, in his enclosure. And usually by an hour or so later, if it's really ready to come off, then he'll rub it off himself. You enjoy your bath? He's so much softer now and he doesn't feel dry like they usually get right before they go into shed. You can see him shining now, so that means he's got a lot of moisture back into his skin, which will make it easier for him to get it off. He's a sweet boy, Tipper is. See dear, I feel a lot better now. I don't have that old dry skin all over me to deal with. Now you can see how pink his stomach is. This is a good indication that a ball python's pre-shed. If you look at their stomach, you'll see a difference in the color, the tone color. He's so passive. My snakes are all big babies. They're so used to being handled. But you can see the pink glow on his stomach. But this is where I'm going to watch. I'll keep him on my lap for a little while. If it starts to let go, then I can help him with the shed. But if it doesn't, then I'll let him do it on his own time. Mama got you upside down. This is how passive all my snakes are. You can do just about anything with them. Hi, Dee. Yeah, I'm giving Tipper a bath. Tipper's fine. My cat's very protective of my snakes. Tipper's fine. She's sitting right behind my head watching everything I'm doing with Tipper. Huh. Hi. Say hi. She's watching over the snake. Deeper does this with all my snakes. She watches over them all the time. She's especially fond of the ball python. She's fine. But before he went into his soak, his skin was so dull. It had no shine to it at all. And you can see the shine now, so that means he has absorbed some moisture, which will help with his shed. Once they get used to the assistance, they really don't have a problem with it. I've never had any of my snakes have an issue, except when I put my big boas, I put them in the bathtub. On a whim, Nosy wasn't happy with it, and she decided to come up and out, and she did. She knocked me and two other people down on the floor, and we were all laying there with her on top of us. Thank God she didn't strike anybody. But for one person alone, that could have been a very serious situation. But like I said, there were 3 of us. But I got bruised up pretty bad from hitting the floor because she smacked me really hard when she came out. She just hit me with her body. She didn't try to bite. But I'd discourage people from getting their snakes baths in bathtubs, especially big constrictors. You're an open target for sure. You're putting your butt on the line doing that, especially if you're alone doing it. Yeah, Tipper's rehydrated, and his skin will be off sometime today. Yes, Tipper's fine. Yeah. But I'm going to put him back in his enclosure and let him rest. And usually within an hour or 2, he's got his shed off.